Hey, and welcome back to another episode of From the Sidelines to the Seats. I'm Rob DeArmond.
I'm Adam DeArmond.
You got a little haircut, man. You look a little different. Just got to make sure that's really you there, man.
Yeah, I kinda chopped it off a little bit. It's my yearly thing.
It's the only way I can lose weight is getting haircuts. So that's what we do.
I probably lost about a pound after that.
Of today's episode, we're going to jump into something that we kind of talked about on a previous episode, just kind of touched on a little bit, but Drew Brees not getting him an MVP award. What are your thoughts without getting into it too deep on that?
It's a tragedy. It really is a tragedy. I would say he got robbed a few times.
When you look at it, I think what brought this on is you shared a graphic with me, and it shows that he's got 5,000 yard passing seasons and no MVPs to show for it. So I think yesterday we kind of dove into a little bit and said, let's make an episode out of it. So here we are. Just looking at it, probably the strongest case for MVP that he had was in 2011. The Saints go 13-3. He's got 476 yards, 46 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 71.2% completion rate, and a 110.6 quarterback rating. That would kind of point to an MVP type season.
I would have to say so. Especially since his completion percentage was a single season record at the time, but also that the amount of passing yards he had was also a single season record. So he broke two records that season and did not win MVP. Aaron Rodgers ended up winning it. He had 4,643 yards, 45 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, a 22.5 rating, but his team went 15-1. Rodgers ended up with 48 votes, Brees ended up with 2. And that to me, I mean, Aaron Rodgers had a great season for sure, but I just feel like if you break two records in a single season, then you should likely win MVP. I mean, Drew Brees had 14 interceptions. Maybe if he cuts that in half, he easily wins it. But even then, I don't know because Aaron Rodgers' team went 15-1, but they lost in the divisional round. So I don't know what standards they're going off, especially because I mean we're gonna look at this later too in this episode. But yeah, especially considering that the majority of Aaron Rodgers' seasons have not gone past the divisional round.
The strange thing to me is that you look at in those 5 seasons, the people that win the MVP, the players that win the MVP, their teams don't win Super Bowls in all 5. So then you have to question how much does team success play over individual success when you're deciding the MVP? When I'm looking at it, I'm looking at numbers. And those numbers in 2011, that's hard to beat, and going 13-3. But you made a great observation on it yesterday. And I just kind of, when you said it, I just kind of laughed and I was like, that's kind of how it felt. But explain to our listeners what you told me yesterday.
I felt like every single time Drew Brees had an MVP type season, they would move the goalposts of what they were looking at. I'll go back to when they won the Super Bowl in 2009. He had pretty similar stats to Peyton Manning, but he had one less win. But Drew Brees also wins the Super Bowl that year too, and he does not win MVP. Peyton Manning wins MVP. The Super Bowl losing quarterback wins MVP over the Super Bowl winning quarterback who played one less game and had nearly identical stats to him. Uh, and I don't know exactly like what they're looking for in these situations. Like, is it the interceptions? Because in 2008, Peyton Manning throws 12 interceptions, only 27 touchdowns, but he wins MVP. Drew Brees threw for 5,000 yards, 34 touchdowns, but he had 17 interceptions. He also had a 96.2 passer rating to Peyton Manning's 95. He had a higher passer rating than the MVP and did not win MVP while throwing for 5,000 yards in that season. Saints went 8-8, Colts went 12-4. So if it's team record that's the only thing, then this award is just fraudulent at that point. I would say so. The only argument I can make for Drew Brees' 5,000 yard seasons, I mean, he had five. The next quarterback has two.
Right.
And the only argument for that I could see is in 2013 when Peyton Manning had the greatest single season for quarterback ever. I mean, 5,477 yards, 55 touchdowns, both NFL records. That makes sense. I mean, there's no argument about that. That one makes sense. Now for 2011 with Aaron Rodgers winning it when Drew Brees breaks 2 records, that just feels like they're moving the goalposts to me. It's like, okay, well, it's quarterback record that makes the difference, not the actual gameplay of the quarterback. Drew Brees was incredibly valuable to the team that year. They went 13-3, but I would just have to say they are moving the goalposts every single time Drew Brees has a season that's good. I mean, Drew Brees was doing Drew Brees things. He did that throughout his entire career. But when Drew Brees is doing it consistently, it's somehow different than somebody who's having a career year.
It's just a strange thing. You go back to the year when Manning won it, and you can just look at it and say, okay, they based it on the overall team record because the Saints go 8-8 that year in '08. But then some of these other ones you just kind of scratch your head on. It's like I don't know sometimes what the criteria is. What are we looking at? And then you go to 2012, you can kind of see that the Saints go 7-9. He passes for 5,177 yards, 43 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. So that may have played in it too. Your MVP that year is Adrian Peterson. The Vikings go 10-6 that year. He has 2,097 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns, really great season there. But in the season, they lose in the wild card. And in that season, Peterson also nearly broke the rushing record. So I could see where that one was valid.
Yeah, certainly, I guess if he, you know, toned back the turnovers some, he would win it. But I mean, just looking at his, ratings compared to other quarterbacks at the same time, it's very similar. He's like, I'm pretty sure he's the only quarterback in NFL history to have multiple seasons being having the top quarterback rating, but not winning an MVP. He had it 2 or 3 times, I think, and did not win MVP. When he finished second in passer rating, he did not win MVP. Even I mean, he would be second in or first in passer rating and finish second in MVP voting. So does passer rating actually make a difference? In 2011, it certainly did, but in 2008, I guess it didn't. So what are they exactly looking for here? And we even see this today. I mean, Lamar Jackson won it a couple years ago with under 30 touchdowns. It just seems like it's a popularity contest, but in Drew Brees' case, he's doing what he normally does. It's just other people are having career years, so somehow that's better. So Drew Brees being consistently good is less than other people being on that level, I guess. I don't know. It's just like we're gonna move the goalpost and discredit him any way that we can.
Be strong there, man.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it, especially now having these stats right in front of me. I guess the only thing is the turnovers and the team record, but that's not the team record is not necessarily his fault. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's throwing for 5,000 yards consistently, and his defense is also giving up the most amount of yards in NFL history.
That did happen. That
That
did
happened a
happen.
lot.
I'm gonna go through these finishes too, and where Drew Brees finished in each one of these years where he had a 5,000 yard season. In '08, he finishes second. 2011, he finishes second. 2012, he finishes fourth. That was the year that Peterson won it. That one I'm directly correlating to the team's record because they go 7-9 that year. That is the only thing I can think of that kind of threw voters off there
I
was the
would say the
team record.
19 interceptions too. He was turnover prone that year, I guess, too. That could have played a factor in it. But, yeah, team record interceptions.
2013, he finishes fifth, and that was just I don't know, you look at it sometimes, and then the way the voting kinda pans out, only getting a couple votes a couple times, it's interesting me. I would like to see the criteria. I've never personally voted on any of these things, so I don't know what the real criteria is and what they're looking at and when they do this, when they vote. 2016, Saints go 7-9. He finishes third. The MVP that year was Matt Ryan from the Falcons. That was the year the Falcons went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots. I know you wanna talk about that one a little bit.
Yeah, yesterday was 3/28, so happy late 3/28 to everybody who celebrates it. I know the people in Atlanta certainly do. So, Matt Ryan. I believe he has the 2 largest comebacks in, NFL history, but he was the quarterback for the losing team. So, yeah, Drew Brees, he goes 7-9. It's not necessarily his fault that year either. I mean, the Falcons were good that year. Matt Ryan was certainly good that year, but Drew Brees also threw for over 5,000 yards again. So, I don't know. Once again, we're moving the goalposts, especially for a Super Bowl loss twice. Yeah, that's just it makes no sense to me because I guess I don't understand the criteria of it of what they're actually looking for in these situations. Because if it's about passer rating, Drew Brees should have won it multiple times. If it's about team record, I guess he doesn't win any. And it seems like that they were just looking at team record throughout this. But then at the same time, you have Adrian Peterson who goes 10-6 with his team. I don't necessarily know if that's what they're looking for in that situation. So is it the stats? Is it the record? Is it just, oh, I'm watching these people more, so I'm gonna vote for them? I don't know what they're looking at here because he certainly should have had at least one, and I think it should have been in 2008 or 2009 when they won the Super Bowl.
I kinda look at it like and it's strange because the Saints were so bad for so long that when they did get national coverage, it was because they were bad. They were a bad football team. And then it was kinda weird when they start winning games and winning consistently to start getting the national coverage because they're winning. And they're still not winning those until Breeze and Peyton get to New Orleans, they're still not winning those playoff games. It took till 2000 before they won that first one. And then once they get to consistently win and things like that, and they're getting these national games, they're getting the Monday night football games. It still kind of felt like, and I hate to say it, but it's kind of like they still weren't taking the Saints very seriously, and they're probably playing really good football from a national perspective. And that's just coming from me following the team for as long as I have and just seeing how coverage works. It's a strange thing. And it kind of seems like they're jumping on to certain teams and you stick to them. And I'm just gonna say this. You just I don't know how many times we see Kansas City in a national game. And personally, I want to see other teams. And I don't know how much that impacts the voting either, because it's like you said, sometimes you latch on to teams, or these are the teams that you see more of. And maybe it's a little different for us because we have a chance to see the Saints every week. No questions asked. And this comes from a question, blackouts. Blackouts used to be a thing. They're not anymore. So used to be if the teams didn't sell out, you didn't see them. So you got another game, and now it's to a point where it doesn't matter what happens, where the Saints are playing, we're going to see them every week, and that's a little different too. I don't know how much that plays into it. I want to look more into criteria, and maybe we'll come back and do another episode on that. But I thought this one was worth talking about because when I saw that graphic, you just kind of shake your head and go, "How does he not at least get one?" You know?
Yeah, I mean, he was doing things that nobody else was doing, and he was playing at a consistently high level that some of these other players were not doing throughout their entire career. It's just frustrating to see that, I guess, and I feel like Drew Brees was always kind of like in the back seat in these situations where, okay, Peyton Manning, he's great in college. He comes out, he's number one overall pick, whatever. He's got a lot of hype around him, and he has a very good career, but it's just constantly he's under the microscope at every single time. But then Drew Brees plays at a better level, the same level, and more consistently is at that level, and yet we don't see anything about it. I just feel like they're picking and choosing who they want to be in the spotlight at that time. We see Kansas City way too much around here, and they're not even good. I mean, the Patrick Mahomes fall off has been terrible, but he still gets, all this recognition and stuff. It's not like, I mean, Drew Brees had a more consistent career than what Patrick Mahomes is having at the moment. It's frustrating to see how it's like we contribute greatness to some of these players, but we have greatness right in front of us and we're not acknowledging it. We have consistent greatness, not just they had some great seasons. Drew Brees consistently had great seasons and got no recognition for it.
You see these lists, we see them on social media all the time because you'll share them with me, and they'll put a group of quarterbacks together, and people will just say, "Hey, take Breeze off the list." Why do you, from a fan's perspective, why do you think that is? Like I said, I look at numbers and I'm like, these are solid numbers across the board. Couple of those times you could say, okay, I see why that person won it, but nobody else has put up 5 seasons of 5,000 yards, and it's not even close. So, and I'm kinda like, "Why do you take him off the list?" And I don't say that out of bias, and it's just one of those things where look at the numbers, look at the production, and see what happens, but I don't know what it is, but people automatically say, "Well, take Breeze off that list, you can leave the rest up." What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't know. I really don't know.
They obviously didn't watch him play. I mean, he was a clutch quarterback. That's I mean, the majority of his games that he needed to come up clutch, he did. But the problem is, I I don't know. They just see, "Oh, he won no MVPs. Oh, he's only got 1 Super Bowl. He must have not been that good." I guess that's all they're looking at, but, like, they didn't actually sit down and watch the guy play, and I guess it's just because I watched him every single week, but he would come up big in those clutch moments when he needed to. The majority of the time, his defense failed him. He would get them in situations where they could win, but his defense did not help him out in those situations. So it then looks bad on him. And it's not really his fault because he's scoring, 3 to 4 touchdowns a game. He's throwing for that many a game. And his defense is also giving up double the amount of touchdowns. I mean, it's just they had to have been just looking at box scores and then being like, he lost the game for him. He's the quarterback. That's not necessarily the entire thing.
That's a great point because you go back and I remember we would watch these games sometimes when he was in the prime and they're having to score 40 points just to win a game. And you shouldn't have to do that, but that's what's happening. And that's just to win. That's not even to come close. That's just to win a game. That's how some of those defenses were, but that's what you're dealing with. And I think we may be onto something there about people just not seeing him consistently. I'll go back to this past season. Did not see very much of Seattle, and I want to say I saw him on it was either a Thursday night game. It was one of those games against the Rams, and that was my really first time to see him. And I think I told you at that point, I was like, don't sleep on either one of these teams because they're both going to make a run, and I don't wanna say it's quiet because we didn't see it, and I really think that might play a part in what happened with Drew Brees.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams and the Seahawks, I would say those were the 2 best teams this past season.
Right. I would
I know the
agree.
Rams didn't have the same record as maybe the 49ers. They had 1 less win, but they they certainly were the 2nd best team in the league. They were better than the Patriots. The Patriots made the Super Bowl, and I will just come out and say that. They were better than them, I think. The NFC West was just loaded, but we also did not get much coverage of them over here, and I think that's the same thing that happened with Drew Brees. People just didn't watch him. They didn't watch the way he played. I mean, you go look at highlight reels of him, he is by far the most accurate quarterback in league history. It's just not even close, and he could just put the ball in spots nobody else was putting him in. His defense failed him the majority of the time. Like, I would make the argument that if Drew Brees had the defenses that Tom Brady had when they were in the Brady Belichick era in New England, Brees would have had that many MVPs and probably that many Super Bowls. He would if you have a defense that can come up clutch and support your insane offensive power, then you're gonna win football games. But Drew Brees did not win football games, not because he was playing bad, but because his defense was terrible.
I go back to some of those throws he used to make to Jimmy Graham, and Jimmy Graham is double and triple covered, and he let it go, and you go, "Man, what are you doing?" And it's like he put it up where only Jimmy Graham could get it, and you just kinda go, "Well, there you go," you go, "What's going on?" Then when it's a great catch, you're just like, "Oh, yeah, they meant to do that. That was how it was supposed to be," and even though it didn't look that way, you just kinda go, "Wow, that was a great throw, great catch. They're professional athletes for a reason," and those are the types of throws that not everybody's gonna see, and you're only gonna see them on a highlight reel. You're not gonna see what's being brought to the table for the full course of the game, and I that's the only thing I can think of, man, in some of these situations, like I said, some of these numbers are great and everything, but you also go back to, I don't think there was any doubt that Drew Brees was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but that just kind of solidifies that there's no MVPs to show for it. And it's just, it's still a head scratcher to me, and it probably always will be.
Yeah, I mean, he at one point he held every single record that every major stat, a record that a quarterback could have, he held that record. And I mean, it just doesn't get enough recognition that he did do that. He's like perpetually in second, but nobody took the time, I guess, to actually watch him and watch what prime Drew Brees actually looked like. And I mean, prime Drew Brees was, I would say, was better than Tom Brady. It was crazy. I mean, it just, if he had a better defense, we would not be sitting here having this conversation right now. I mean, in at least two of those seasons, if he has a better defense, then yeah, we certainly would not be having this conversation right now. And I would say too that the turnovers would likely go away because he's not having to force the ball in these like clutch situations or just trying to, because he knows I have to score. So he's trying
Right.
to do anything to try and score
Yeah.
because he knows his defense is not going to
Yeah.
come and help him. So that hurts his stat line too.
Well, I mean, you got anything else on this? We've talked at length about
No,
it, just kind of looking at it. And you said it, uh, is Drew Brees the best quarterback to play the game and not have an MVP?
absolutely. I don't even think it's really a question. It's just criminal that he does not have one. But yeah, that it's just not even debatable that he is the best quarterback to never win an MVP in NFL history.
Good, man. You got anything else?
No, that's it.
Hey, we want to thank you guys for joining us for another episode. We appreciate the follows. I really appreciate the comments and conversations I've had with you guys during the course of the week since we launched this thing. And you may see some podcasts based on some of those conversations that we've had. You can catch us on Facebook. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and we just launched on Apple Podcasts as well. We appreciate everything and come grow with us. Thank y'all very much. See you next time.